Hello and welcome to the show. I'm Sahar Movehead.
And I'm Ziad Mardini. We have a packed program tonight, so let's get going. Coming up.
Where next for Uber, the controversial substitute for the London cab?
We will be looking at a day in the life of disabled student Toby Green.
And waste management, a huge problem for hospitals around the country.
But first, Kirsty has been out investigating the controversy surrounding the Uber ban set by TfL and the Mayor of London. Let's find out more about the big taxi debate.
Today to speak to Nazir, a local black cab driver who's been working at Surbiton Taxi Rank for the past 11 years. We're here to find out his opinions on the current ban of Uber that has been set up by Transport for London. Let's see what he's got to say and his opinions on the ban. Okay, so how has Uber affected your business of black cabs?
To be honest, Uber affect most of the black cab, like a 50% of our revenue. Most of black cab driver, we go for between 3 to 4 years knowledge, and we know exactly where the passenger is going. But sometimes we see the Uber driver, they don't have a knowledge of London, and they just follow the satellite navigation, and this is wrong.
Do you agree with the Uber ban that has been set in place by the Mayor of London?
Yes, we are very agree with the Mayor of London because after a long time, because he recognized the problem, what is exactly, because there is a more than 10,000 driver or more at central London, and the problem is start because they park outside of their residential, and they occupy most of the space in central London, especially in Westminster.
Do you think that Ubers can sometimes be unsafe for people?
Yes, especially night time.
Okay, so why would you recommend black cabs to the public over the Uber service?
Because we go for 4 years knowledge, and plus every year we go for criminal record check.
We're now at Kingston University to find out the opinions of students and staff members.
I think the current ban on Uber is kind of bullshit, essentially, because a lot of it's based on the fact that black cabs are losing out on business, etc. But I've never hailed a black cab, and it's a lot easier to use Uber because you can pay like through card and stuff, and with a lot of black cabs and just cabs in general you can't. So
I think the Uber ban is ridiculous simply because it will make it harder to get to certain places. Because before there was Uber, you'd have to book a black cab, and sometimes they're just sometimes unreliable to come to, and Uber is cheaper.
I was surprised to hear about the current ban because I have never used Uber myself, but once I started reading about it, I thought it was probably quite a good idea.
Do you think that Ubers are unsafe at all?
I think they can be unsafe, but then again, you see who your driver is before you go into the Uber, whereas with black cabs you're just kind of going up to the car and asking about a price and stuff like that.
I believe all cabs can be unsafe to an extent. Saying that, it'll be easier. Say if something happens with the Uber, you can easily report that through the app, and they will easily track down who the driver is, whilst if it was a black cab, it would be 10 or 20 times harder.
I've talked to Uber drivers about the Uber ban, and I've talked to them just about how their night has gone and stuff like that. And with other taxi services, it feels like you just kind of sit back and just don't say anything.
So if you had to use an Uber or a black cab, what would you go for?
If I had the choice between an Uber or a black cab, I think I'd always go for a black cab.
Uber all day long, simply because it's just like I said, it's cheaper, and it's more comfortable being in an Uber, and you can control where you're going without always having to worry about the prices going up.
I guess the reason would be is that that's what I've grown up with. I think that they are well trained. I know that they have to go through tests. I know that they know their way round, and I just feel quite uncomfortable about somebody who just picks up an app and pops it in their car and suddenly becomes a taxi driver.
We have Kate Booth here with us in the studio today. She's from TfL, and she's going to give us info about this ban. What do you think about this ban?
I think it's a good thing. It's definitely something that we need to maybe improve Uber's training and regulations that they have on all of their rides.
But is Uber truly unsafe? I've never had any bad experiences with Uber.
Well, I can't comment on any specific bad experiences, but there's been enough reported so that we've had to introduce this ban.
And is this ban in London only, or is it across the whole UK?
No, it's only in London at the moment, but depending on how it goes, may have to be
Well,
elsewhere.
hope it goes well. Thank you very much, Booth.
Thank you.
Toby Green is a disabled individual who currently studies at Kingston University. Toby talks about her student lifestyle, such as the support system she receives and her achievements with dance.
University to gain an insight of the combination between disability and dance here at Kingston.
Hi, my name is Toby. I am a Kingston University dance student and I've been dancing most of my life. I think that most people who understand what dance might be are kind of not sure or are not open to seeing people with disabilities. And I've tried my best throughout my life to kind of change or break through those barriers of the understanding of what dance should look like. I like breaking the stereotypes of what disability really means. So for me, I guess I started really dancing when I was 13 and continued throughout my whole life. So, and I'm hoping to do that for forever, as much as I possibly can, just to be able to really show and give people that idea of what dance truly means. For support workers and any library support, like for example, my support worker would come with me to the library and help me pick out a book or a film that I need to perhaps study, which is really, really useful. They even type my notes for me at times. Generally, outside of DSA, I normally have support from lecturers. So lecturers generally help me with just kind of giving me more motivation or perhaps kind of getting me out of my comfort zone. So that's how normally I get support from the university.
I'm one of the support workers. I've worked with Toby. I help her take notes. Campus support is always needed.
If you are a disabled student and you're coming into uni and you want to make some friends, be open, be ready to face every challenge. I know that it's scary, but I think that for me, I have been scared, of course, when I first started uni. But especially doing dance has helped me to really make sure that I have that confidence. So I guess finding an outlet at uni is really good too, because there's so many different things, as I already mentioned, just being like grabbing every opportunity at uni. And if you feel like as a disabled person, oh, I don't think I could do that because of my wheelchair, ask, because I'm telling you, if you ask questions, you'll definitely get an answer and you'll get the help from other people. You have to be vocal, not loud like me, but you have to be vocal, I guess. And that's how I've basically made it through uni and making friends and going out and enjoying myself. I even make friends just going along the hallway. And I'm just like, yo, you look really cool. I love your hat, or I like your nails, or you're handsome, or I like do you go to the gym, that kind of thing. I'm very like open. So I guess just really good communication. And in terms of studies, I would say if you're struggling, ask for help. Don't be ashamed.
That was a detailed insight of someone with passion for dance and that's also disabled. Back to the studio.
Hi Liam, thanks for coming in. What was your concept behind the piece?
But we wanted to show an insight into disability in dance at Kingston University and sort of make the audience think about something that they wouldn't normally question themselves, they wouldn't normally think about other people in that way.
Nice. And what impact do you think Toby has made?
Well, Toby was actually the first disabled student to go into the dance programme that we offer at Kingston University. and she made the syllabus include like changed to include disabled students. So she's managed to change it for good for everybody else.
Nice. And was this what you wanted to achieve?
Yeah, I mean, in the face of negative news we see all the time on TV, we wanted to inspire the audience and make them, and just sort of make them believe that they could do anything. Like, especially if they're in the same situation, just make people feel a bit better.
Yeah, I think that's great. Thanks for coming in.
Well, thank you.
And finally, hospital waste management. Not something most of us think about, nor probably want to. Still, it has to be done. And we sent Omar to Kingston Hospital to meet Paul Graham, the hospital waste manager.
Each year, hospitals in the UK produce a whopping 170,000 tonnes of waste. About 7% of this is recycled, but the rest is carefully disposed of, sorted and taken away for incineration. To find out more, I took a trip to Kingston Hospital in southwest London. I've come here today to speak with Paul Graham, the hospital waste manager, who's kindly agreed to show me how it all works. Let's go take a look. To explain the different types of waste and how they're segregated, Paul took me into the hospital to see the process. I'm here with Paul up in one of the hospital wards. I've got a lunch pot with me and a nappy as well. I would usually put the lunch pot in the recycling bin and the nappy would go straight in the bin.
In the hospital it's not quite that simple. We've got some bins here you can have a look at. The black lidded one is a domestic waste bin, so I could put this in there. If it's clean, this one is, so let's pop that in there. Now next to it we've got a clinical waste stream, so this is the tiger waste because it's a yellow background with a black stripe on it. That's for anything that's non-infectious, so if this patient was not infectious, this waste could go in there. If they're infectious, it would be an orange lidded bin, so let's just pop that in there.
And how about the one on the end there?
This is a sharps bin. It's a reusable sharps bin, so you put any needles or broken glass or anything like that in here. It's got a special mechanism to stop things coming out again, so I can't get my hand back in, it's tamper-proof. And these are reusable pieces of equipment, so it goes away, it's emptied, and the contents is then sent for incineration, and the outer package is cleaned and brought back to the site.
It turns out there are a remarkable 11 different types of hospital waste, each of which has its own specific procedure and corresponding coloured bin to help clinical staff dispose of it correctly. Okay, here we are, Paul, at the clinical waste transfer station. What goes on here?
Well, this is where all the waste from across the site is brought so that it can be grouped together, tagged appropriately so we know what it is in transit. And then the big yellow waste containers you can see behind you are loaded onto a giant lorry and taken away for disposal.
So then what happens after it's taken away?
Well, after the waste has been taken away, it's taken to an incineration facility where it's sorted by type so that we get billed correctly. And then it's incinerated at about 1,000 degrees. I think it's between 800 and 1,000.
Later on, Paul showed me around the old catering wing, which has been closed since 2014. As waste manager, it's his responsibility to make sure that the abandoned furniture and equipment is removed. But this can be an expensive business and sometimes the cost is just too high. Waste management departments across London are faced with finding a chilling £1.5 billion just to clear the current backlog of works. So the pressure is on Paul and others like him to find the budget. To find out what can be done, I went to speak to the Director of Estates and Facilities, Charles Handford.
A lot of the main services run through the building. Cost to demolish is in excess of £1 million. So yeah, it's a problem, it's an ongoing problem.
And what can the government do to help with this problem?
Well, they've commissioned an independent report by a chap called Sir Robert Naylor. What he suggested is that the majority of the land value is in the London area. So if you Pareto that, 80% of the land value equates to something around £2.5 billion. In particular, from Kingston's perspective, we've got about £60 million worth of surplus land that we could possibly sell off, which would then support the refurbishment of the hospital. And if you then transfer that to the rest of the country, you'll get some significant values which can have a positive impact on the NHS generally.
Great. Paul said he had one last thing to tell me.
Okay, Omar, now you know everything you need to know about hospital waste. So if you'll just take these, and yeah, I'll just leave you to sort this lot out then.
What? Paul? Paul? Wow, 170,000. That must be a lot of shit. How did you experience that?
Yeah, it was quite a lot. It was a really interesting experience, as hospital waste is something that is not really discussed or talked about. But it was great learning how much different types of waste there is and how it affects us.
Did you find any crazy pieces like broken legs, you know, hands, fingers?
Oh no, no, nothing crazy like that. It would have been good for the film, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
We did, through my conversations with Paul, I found he talked about a story where he was just walking along the hospital wards and he actually found a big blob of placenta actually just lying there.
That must be disgusting.
Yeah, it was pretty disgusting.
But is any of it toxic?
Yes, not the placenta really. He mentioned a story about him working in his first week about an Ebola scare and how they had to deal with the waste from the patient who had supposedly Ebola. You had to basically bag anything that they wasted in a bag and put it into another bag, literally then put it into a container, and then it gets shipped all the way to get incinerated, basically.
Wow, that's really secure.
Yeah.
Oh well, thank you, Omar.
Thank you for your time.
And we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
And that's all from us today. We'll see you on the next one. Till then, goodbye from me, Saham Overhead.
And goodbye from me, Ziad Mardini.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.